there, Sage Canaday of VO2 Max Productions here with a quick, well, it's gonna be long, video log entry, my last entry into the OTQ series, at least for this 4-year segment, the 2016 Olympic Trials, because if you didn't know already by now, I failed to meet my goal of qualifying for the Olympic Trials. It was the last day at Houston Marathon this past weekend, and I missed. I actually ran my slowest marathon in the past 10 months. I ran 2:20:32. I don't even know what my official time was. It was like 2:20:30 something. 17th place, third American maybe. And congrats to all those that qualified though, by the way. There were some last minute qualifiers at Phoenix Rock and Roll, at Houston. There were a couple guys and gals that got in. Really impressive performances. Congrats to all the qualifiers. I just wanted to, throw that out there first. But, I failed. It's gonna be a chip on my shoulder that I'm gonna regret kind of for the rest of my life. And it sucks to not meet your goal, but in the grand scheme of things, it's part of the journey, enjoying the process and learning something about yourself and about training. And I'm living the dream. I'm not complaining. Like, there's all sorts of dire circumstances out there, people living in poverty, fighting life and death every day. Not meeting your running goals, kind of a minor inconvenience in the grand scheme of life worldwide. So it's really hard to be that devastated and disappointed. I could have gotten really injured. I could have gotten in a car accident. This is nothing really. But yeah, I am disappointed, and I think anyone could relate to that feeling of not meeting a goal in life and failing. And even when you try as hard as you can and you persevere through adversity, sometimes you fall up short. Sometimes life throws you a curveball, and things don't always work out in an ideal sense, but at the same time you need to recognize opportunities that could lead to future goals that you could reach. And so it's a kind of a blessing. I go back to the trails. I've missed the trails in the mountains, and I could focus on the ultra running now for the next 2 years at least, till the next Olympic Trials happens in 2020. Still going for it, as long as they don't make the standard like 2:15 or something really fast. And if I have a window to go after, I guess would be, I would still want to go for it, is what I'm saying. And what I learned was it's hard to transition off the mountain training. I think if we look at my training, and I screwed up as a coach, it's hard to admit that you make mistakes. I made a big mistake. I screwed up. I'll go into the Houston details in a minute here, but if you look at the span of the last 10 months where I ran 4 road marathons, all between 2:19 and 2:20, my first 2 at the LA Championships, USATF Marathon Championships in March 2015, and Boston were better marathon performances than my last 2 marathons. And if you look at why that happened, LA I ran 2:20:02, 8th place overall in the USATF Championships. It's like, oh, it's kind of a slow time, but it was warm conditions. It was probably the slowest course of all the courses I ran. And I was able to bounce back 5 weeks later only and run Boston, which was my best marathon performance of my life. But the time didn't show for it because I ran 2:19:12, 16th place overall. But I didn't know at the time the standard was 2:19. I thought it was 2:18, so I thought I missed it by a minute 12. And in reality, I missed it by 12 seconds at Boston with a 10-mile-an-hour headwind. But no regrets there. I raced my guts out. I raced as hard as I could. There was a lot of pain, and it was a good race. I was able to pull it together on that day. But then I wasn't at Cal International, and I wasn't able to do it at Houston. I kind of epically failed. But in between, I did all this mountain training. I did well at Speed Goat. I was training all summer out in France, going up and down mountains, training for a 100-miler at UTMB. It's not very specific to the flat road marathon. And then, of course, getting injured at UTMB, I think it just kind of sapped my speed. And the whole theme, the whole story of it was I couldn't quite get my speed back together. And then when I was getting close to Cal, I thought I was in pretty good shape. I think I overdid it just a little bit, and my legs came out flat. And it all came down to muscle fibers not firing well, feeling uncoordinated, feeling like the 5:15 mile pace was really, really fast. When I used to do pro marathoning, and even my first couple marathons out of college, when I was doing 10K training, half marathon training, marathon pace felt a lot more comfortable. 5:15 pace, 5:08 pace, it didn't feel like a sprint. Now it feels like a sprint. And what happened at Cal, what happened at Houston is I was breathing way too hard, working way too hard, way too early, just burning through halfway. And you don't want to feel like that coming through 13.1 miles in a marathon. You want to be pretty relaxed through halfway. You want to still be holding it together at mile 20. In these races, I was like on edge of really knowing that I was going to slow down after mile 20 pretty bad. And so it was just trying to survive this leg bonk, basically. I was able to pull it together at Houston, but I was just slow all the way through, except for that halfway split I hit right on. But by mile 18, I basically knew I didn't have it. And I fought and I fought and I fought, but you know, there's only so much you could do when your legs are pooping out on you and you're losing that ability to generate enough force to move at the pace that you need to move at late in the race. And that's really, you know, the prime way to race a marathon is being able to close down that last 10K. I couldn't have it. If I went out slower, I could make a split, but I didn't go out slow. I went out at the pace and I couldn't hold it. And that's poor training, poor recovery. The turnaround between Cal and Houston was definitely not ideal. I thought I could do it because I did it up between LA and Boston. I did it on a week less, but again, that mountain training, speed goat training, UTMB training in the summer probably wasn't doing me any favors. And if I look at the big picture, kind of the benefit of hindsight, so to speak, I could kind of see that. And so that's kind of what I learned. Speed doesn't come back real quick, especially flat running speed, flat running economy, running mechanics. Even though I tried to get it back with, you know, 1,000 meter repeats, 800 meter repeats, shorter stuff, but the long specific stuff wasn't quite there. And even 3 weeks before Houston, I was coming back, I flew back from the Midwest after the holidays, and I was supposed to do 3x3 miles, and I cut it short because I was struggling to hit marathon pace. And you should be able to hit marathon pace 3x3 miles 3 weeks before your marathon. If you can't do it, you're in trouble. You should be able to run like 10 seconds a mile faster than marathon pace. I wasn't able to hit it. So altitude training, Boulder in the winter, probably wasn't doing me any favors either. Coming from the slower ultra side back down to marathon, not ideal. But you know, I screwed up. I didn't, you know, when I ran 216 back in the day in 2011, I was averaging 120 miles a week for a month, 2 months in a row on the road, 120 miles a week. These marathon segments, I hit 120 miles a week maybe twice, 120, 130, then I was back down to 100 miles a week. It wasn't really hard training. So you could say I was overtrained in some areas, but I was undertrained on the specifics of the marathon demands that I need to do. And it's a really fine line. If you're running around 220, you know, the difference between 220 and 219, I don't know what the math is on that, I get out the calculator, you know, 1%, 2% difference is gonna make or break you. It's the difference between qualifying and not qualifying. So really fine line, I couldn't pull it off. I failed. But, you know, I'm at a loss for words for all the support that I received before the race and after the race. Actually mainly after the race, just on, you know, comments on Instagram, tweets, comments on here before the race wishing me luck, people I met at the expo in person, people that gave me the video footage for this video who were out there in Houston. Really just can't say enough thanks. I don't have time right now to get back to all the comments, but I did read them all, and I'm just really blown away. It means a lot to me, and it's great that people like to follow this journey, I guess, and I hope that, you know, you could learn some lessons for your own training or goal setting process, and see that, you know, I fail a lot as well, and life's not always perfect, but you give it your best shot and no regrets. I mean, I didn't think I'd run 4 road marathons in the past 10 months. I gave up a lot of ultras to do it, but it was a journey worthwhile, and I gave it my shot, and I missed it, ultimately by 12 seconds. But the only regret I guess I'd have is that I didn't start sooner. So next time, you know, going into 2018 or the 2020 trials, they set that standard, I'm going after it right away. I'm not messing around with too many mountain ultras right before it. I'm gonna try to get my speed back and, you know, really get in a good solid base and get in marathon specific work on the road. And, you know, coaching myself, I made a mistake. You know, I don't always do things the right way, don't always practice what I preach. Sandy helps guide me a lot sometimes, but ultimately I screwed myself over this time around. And it was close, you know, it was a hairline miss, but I kept missing, and I was consistent, but consistently too slow. So, you know, that's a lesson I learned. But thanks again for all the support along the way. It really means a lot to me. thank you for following this journey. There will be more trail running videos now to come, as well as training talks. Thanks to all those Patreon supporters. I mean, to get some exclusive Patreon content up and slacking on that, I'll admit, but I really owe it to you guys. I'm gonna get some more footage and continue the training talks, so feel free to comment on that. Really excited to get back to the trails, the trail ultra scene. That's what most of my sponsors really care about anyway. It's why I'm sponsored as an athlete. It's not for road marathon prowess. It's for ultra trail mountain racing, really. So I'm getting back to my key events, I guess, so to speak, after this hiatus on the roads. But although I do want to do comrades again, I'll do comrades. But yeah, go back to ultras and mountain racing, and hope that your 2016 training and racing is going well. Congrats to all the finishers in the half and the full this past weekend in Houston. A lot of people out there, really cool to see. Congrats if you've just finished your race, or good luck if you're racing this weekend. Thank you again for all the support and all the comments on here. Again, it's been really awesome to see, really a lot of positive energy, and it's hard for me to be that upset when there's so much support in the running community, and so much to look back on and reflect on, and so many positive interactions, I guess, and learning experiences along the way. So it's not all in vain. Missed the goal, but so what? You get stronger, you have other goals to shoot for, and you go after them. Thanks so much, guys. Really appreciate all the support, and stay tuned for more VO2 Max Productions.